I am Lyndon Wilson. I am co-hosting today with James Kern on Moving Conversations. Darren and April are going to be out today. James is having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to fill in here for him until he gets back in here. It's been a great day. 2020 is already starting off great. Here's James now. Let me bring him in with me here. What's up, James? You're on mute.
Yeah, my bad. We're having some technical challenges. It just seems like it gets worse. I learned from somebody, actually Darren, as everyone might know, Darren and April. Darren said when he was going through struggles in his marriage, he said, well, it couldn't get worse than this. And it seemed like every week things were getting worse. So
yeah,
a while ago when we were having problems with the microphone and my camera, I said, well, it's not going to get any worse than this. So anyway, we'll try to steer this thing in the right direction. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How was your Christmas? How was your New Year?
Man, it was great. Had some friends in town for the New Year that I haven't seen in a while, and I was very intentional about trying to relax and enjoy the moment and not think about all that was on my plate or all that I didn't get done before the holiday. Once the holidays hit, it's like you're just scrambling. And so I said, you know what? I didn't get some things done I wanted to get done. I'm just going to leave it there and I'll come back to it. And I need to enjoy the time with family and friends. And so, but definitely excited about the new year. I think people after 2020 have probably said it couldn't get any worse, but I refuse to say that.
Yeah, I kind of made that comment earlier today. I mean, I don't expect it's all going to be about our attitude, right? And I think we learned in 2020, once we got over the initial shock. I know that I've watched you guys, people associated with the difference, that really fought through and pushed on and grew their business and learned and expanded. And that's kind of what you're going to talk about today with our guests. But I hope we don't have the unrealistic expectations of 2021. There may be a lot of similarities to 2020. But we at least learned in 2020 that we can press on and we can continue to grow. We just have to look at things a little bit differently. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I know I learned a lot in 2020.
Yeah, I think if we just all set our expectations that chaos is kind of the new norm and we just stay laser-like focused through the storms and through everything and don't get, I think we spent several months saying things like, this is crazy, this is unprecedented, I can't believe what's going on. And after the pandemic hit and we got shut down and we spent so much time doing that rather than and that's normal. I was guilty of that, right? I mean, it seemed like every conversation I was having, I was like, can you believe we're actually experiencing this? And so I think it's just about learning about a new norm. What's your new norm and how to navigate through that.
I think it's part of that. I also think, though, that we all kind of have the unrealistic expectations that everything is just supposed to flow, right? We're supposed to do this work, kind of get in our routine. And I think that what 2020 should have taught us, if you took the victim mentality in 2020, and I don't mean to diminish what has happened to some people. I mean, it's terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't think, and I fault our government a little bit, we don't need to curl up in a ball.
Right.
We've got to continue to fight through. And as you said, the new norm, James, has always been that the people that persevere through the toughest times in 2008 when the market crashed and different times in our adulthood, but in human history, the world has been faced with challenges, and the people that rise up in the middle of those challenges are the one that continue to grow and our society continues to progress. And then we have some that just kind of curl up in a ball. And, I'm not faulting anybody or anything like that, but I think we've got to go into 2021 probably going to have a lot of the same challenges that was in 2020, but okay. So now what? I just got to go to work.
Yeah. That's something that Kevin Elko, I've mentioned before on this show, who's kind of a mind coach. He works with a lot of professional sports teams and college teams. He's Nick Saban, works for Nick Saban at Alabama as a contractor. He comes in and helps them set their goals and their mindset for the year. And that's one of his favorite sayings. So what, now what? In sports, it could be I like it. You just threw a an interception. Okay, so what? Now what? We're going to sit over and spend the next 5 minutes on the sideline, down on ourselves, or we're going to say, okay, that happened. So now what? So I think we've got to do that now.
Great analogy.
More than ever. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it. Still, don't know what's going to happen, but I think the days of set your plan in motion and just follow through with it and execute flawlessly every day without any outside interference. I think we're all learning that you got to be able to go with the ebbs and the flows and get creative, but stick to who you are and not flip out. I mean, as a person of faith, in my faith, I've seen God come through for me in many ways this year, literally praying about things, needing a blessing, needing something to turn my way. And of course, God already had it planned. It's not like I just willed it into existence because I prayed it and 5 minutes later the phone rang and it was a customer who said, yeah, I woke up this morning and remembered I needed to call you. Well, they decided that long before I prayed. And, I like Darren, who's not here today, couldn't be with us. They're going to be back with us next week. But I like what Darren said. He heard someone say one time, and that is prayer is us just is God causing us to ask him for things that he's already decided he's going to do. And so
it's a good point.
Right. So anyway, but yeah, let's get the show rolling. Excited about our three guests today. Kindra Strachan with Fair Texas Title. We've got Greg Holdburg with Liberator Health Insurance, and we've got Mark Karetskiy, a return guest with Movement Mortgage. And so,
all three of these are contributors to the difference. They have their spotlight videos that people can see and kind of get some information on who they are, what they do, and how they serve their communities. And then they also help us out with these shows and come on and give their insight and they're just part of our community of the difference. And we're excited to have them on today. Greg's brand new with us. This is he's been on one or two shows before, but happy to have all three of them on.
And then I want to carve out a little bit of time at the end, Lennon, for you to just share with everyone out there about the difference and what you're doing and what your plans are for 2021. And just give you a chance to share with that, because I think what you got going, what we've got going through your leadership is very impactful. And there may be some people out there that need to hear about how they can be a part of the difference, or they may know someone that can be a part of it. So let's go ahead and get Kindra on, though.
All right. There she is. She's muted. So there we go.
Hello, and Happy New Year.
How are you today?
I'm doing great today.
Good. Good. You look great.
Thanks.
You look refreshed. You don't look tired and worn out, like it's a new year with a new perspective.
I have a new perspective. It's been, I definitely have a new perspective on a lot of things, but I won't go into that. But you know what? I am excited for 2021. 2020 taught us to be resilient. It taught us to truly embrace change and to really think fast on our feet and how to figure out how to not so much, we weren't so worried about getting our, our clients and keeping our clients and getting our contracts, but honestly, how we could help, how we truly could be of assistance to anybody from our clients to our customers to, my realtors, my lenders, just to get everyone over the hump of getting through it all in the beginning, where we're at now, and we're constantly evolving. So I work with Fair Texas Title. We are a Texas-based title company. So if you've ever bought a home or refied your home or sold your home, you have sold it at a title company. And we are that third-party vendor that coordinates all of the efforts and make sure that your closing is above par. And our goal is that your closing experience is the finest closing experiences in Texas. We have 11 offices throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have years and years of experience with incredible closers who are there to communicate with you throughout the whole process. But my role is sales. So my role basically is I have the pleasure to work with our lenders and our real estate agents and also the clients, as well as other vendor partners, like all that are involved with the difference in basically helping to grow their business. And that is why I'm so fortunate, so blessed to be at a company that is so forward thinking, that is their goal, is to be a business partner with our clients, to be a true business partner. And just as in the sense of the word, as in to find the holes that they need filled, the little holes, the things that they might need assistance with that we're able to assist with. We basically, I sit down with a lot of my realtors and find out, have they been in business for 5 years, 10 years, 1 year? Where are they at? What are their needs? Do they just need somebody that helps them, put together some flyers and send it over their print shop? Which we have quite a platform of different things that we can assist with, from Farming Genie to our mail shop, which is low cost, as well as our print shop that's low cost. But basically, we also have quite a few marketing materials that are online and or in hard copy. And we put together a lot of buyer guides and seller guides for our agents and for lenders also that deal with reload. So we have a lot of information that helps just make them look that much more professional and that much more put together, that for things that they might need assistance with. But it's been an interesting year, I have to say. It really has been. It's been, and I will say, God sometimes closes a door and you don't know why, and then he opens other stuff wide open, and you're like, thank you. It's like unanswered prayers, and prayers that you pray that you don't realize you prayed, but the things have fallen into your lap and it works out. It's amazing. It's really amazing. But 2021, we know that who knows what it's going to be like. It could be as crazy busy as 2020 has been, and it probably will be. It may be a little different, but we know that we're constantly looking out for the next thing that we need to do to make sure that all of our vendor partners are covered and that they have what they need.
So what are you in 2020 with people not feeling comfortable with the pandemic? How did that affect you, your one-on-ones? How did that affect your maybe sponsoring a training or things like that? How did you see that impacting your business?
We basically switched to Zoom pretty quickly. Okay. So we do a lot of Zoom training. We have had one-on-one, in-person, well, not one-on-one, but in-person training. But when we've done it, it's been in a very socially distancing manner. And it's been pretty few and far between. Most of it's been Zoom, and we've done some hybrid Zoom and in person. But we were able to switch over really fast to get into training in Zoom. And one-on-one in person, I still have those meetings, but it's few and far between. It's really the agents that need assistance to come in when we in the office, and we wear our masks, and when we do closings in office, we have sneeze guards and masks and sanitizers. I mean, we clean that place like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
But right now we're doing mostly curbside closings. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
But honestly, it slowed down for a while, the one-on-one, and then we agents were so desperate just to get back in touch with us and just in person. So when we opened up, we did, but we were careful, and they're careful too. So,
Kindra, what are some adaptations that your industry had to make in 2020 because of COVID that you look at now and really feel like it was a blessing? It was a lesson that you learned that either makes you more efficient, anything like that really you see an improvement in your business because of what you had to do because of COVID?
Honestly, it's I used to get told by other management from another company that the only way to reach somebody was via the phone, no matter what. And that is a very valid point. However, what they've also realized is that it's not just the phone. You've got to call, you've got to text, you've got a messenger, you've got to email. It's the consistency of being in front of someone and figuring out each person, how their communication style is and how they want to communicate. But realizing that not just one way works. There's multiple facets to it. But honestly, I just kind of learned to truly stay in touch with our people and be in front of them with just, even if it's just through constant contact, emailing, if it's mass emails, if it's personal, just the consistency of communication with our clients, especially with realtors and agents, and getting them what they need, getting them the simplest thing from the social media post about New Year's to Christmas lights to, Halloween pumpkin patches, just so they can share that to their clients and their group of people that they, put out information out via social media. That's the other thing that truly, truly I have to laugh about, because there are a lot of people that are like, social media is so stupid. You shouldn't. Why are you on social media? Realtors aren't on it. What are you talking about? Honestly, it exploded. It truly exploded. I always knew it was there. Most of us did, but it is truly the way that agents stay in front of their sphere, and lenders as well. That's how you stay in front of your people. And we really have truly learned that we have to be out there. We have to be out there. We have to be giving information and providing a value. And that's truly what we've really worked hard at doing. And I can say even that value is kind of transposed into, we have some copycats that like to copycat a lot of our social media stuff. So we just kind of laugh about that. It is what it is. Yeah.
So what do you think? Is there one thing that you did in 2020 that let's say you were doing in 2019 and 2020 changed it and you won't go back to the way you used to do it? Has there been anything in the way you do business now that you think will be here to stay, that you like the permanent change of from 2020?
I think, honestly, it's the social media aspect of it, as well as Zoom. I don't think any of that will ever go away. I think that we've learned that we can reach our agents just as easily on a Zoom call and a Zoom class or a Zoom happy hour as we can in person. And that we can sometimes reach more people and reach people that may not have, and so we're reaching a broader range of individuals. And I think that that's one thing. I don't think it's not going to go away. And I think it's positive because people are busy and our business model has changed. We like I said before, we do curbside closings, and right now we're just doing curbside through probably the middle to end of January until they assess where the numbers are. But that's okay. It's, we've learned to adapt fast. We've had to. And
what's the average? So I closed on a home. Well, we moved into our home 2018. So it's been a couple of years. So what does that curbside closing look like? And how long am I going to be sitting in my car if I'm over at Fair Texas Title?
Hopefully not very long, but basically we have you scheduled like normal. We have you scheduled exactly when it's going to, at a time. We know you give us a shout, call, text us, let us know you're there. And the same person will come down with a clipboard full of the paperwork, and it's going to already be ready for you, showing you exactly where you need to sign it. And we bring down hand sanitizer and your own pen and the clipboard, and you take all that with you. And excuse me, and we just have you sign. One of us, the person that does that, will usually go sit. I sit in our North Dallas office, our brand new office at 18333 Preston Road. It's really gorgeous. But we will sit in the lobby and wait. We will answer questions via the phone, text, however they need the questions answered. And then we'll review the paperwork and then bring them back their copies down to them. So we try to get them in and out of there as quickly as possible. It's not going to be a 1, 2, 3 hour long process. It's going to be fast. It's 30 to 45 minutes. And, it's heart-wrenching for us because we're not able to provide our typical, mimosas or cheese board or cookies or anything like we usually are able to, just because we have to be very cognizant of the health and welfare of everyone.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, maybe I'm wrong on this, Lyndon, or y'all help. Maybe you're just a good faker, Kindra. But every time I'm around you, and we've been around each other, we've been on shows before together, you just always have so much joy. And I don't know if you're just one of those optimistic people or if you just fake it, but you just always bring joy and a smile. And I appreciate that. I think that probably serves you well in business because you make people feel good when you're around.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I tend to try to see. I mean, we've all gone through stuff, and I have a lot the last 3-4 years, but I try to see the positive in everything. And I have 3 sons, and this has been kind of tough on them the last 9 months. You know, they've never had to deal with something where they feel like the world's falling apart around them. And I'm like, it's really not, boys. I promise you, the world's not falling apart. We will get through this. This too shall pass. And that's one of the things that I've tried to remind them of is, you know, count your blessings. Even if every day when you wake up, try to think of 3 things that you're grateful for and that have made your life better. Just because if you change your mindset into thinking the positive, then that's how you're gonna. It's just a change in mindset. So
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Do you have anything else for Kindra and Lyndon?
I do. One thing is, I know she talked about the Zoom, and everybody kind of had to go to that. And I think we're going to find out that there's going to really be some cost savings in the way that we had to adapt. You know, so that's going to be a positive that comes out of it. But let me ask this: you know how long I've been doing social media, and you know how big of a proponent I am of it. And there can't be anybody out there that was more uncomfortable doing videos than I was when I first started. And I know I'm still not good at it, but I can tolerate myself now. How much do you think the hesitancy and the resistance to the Zoom was just people being on camera and being comfortable with themselves? I mean, today we had a challenge with and James got frustrated with his mic. He's got a new microphone, and I know what that's like to get so excited with your new equipment and you're ready to use it and you're ready to, and then you can't get it to work. So there's a learning curve, right? But then there's also this we've got to become comfortable seeing ourselves and hearing ourselves on video. But I don't think there's any better way to reach a massive amount of people in a close connecting way than there is with social media, Zoom calls, and things like that. Do you think the hesitancy and resistance is just because of that, though? We're just not used to it?
I think so. I think people are just scared. And if you look at what I've noticed with any of the lenders and realtors that we work with, and even ones that I just kind of follow and keep an eye on, the ones that are truly, really ahead of the game right now are those that don't have any problem getting out there and putting their Facebook Live videos on, or creating. It's like they're creating themselves on social media, and they're creating themselves via video a lot.
Yep.
And it's impressive. You know, Greg's son, even he and his wife, something similar. They have like their own little talk show thing they do. And it's impressive because people start to remember you. Because, you know, the old adage is you got to touch somebody, 12 to 15 times before they remember you or they reply. Well, this is just a really awesome way to get through about 5 of those touches, I think, is by via Zoom and social media or Facebook videoing.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the overlooked opportunities we have when we're doing social media, and we're doing it in the format that we have with James's show, and the difference is the people that we have on our shows. People that are watching will start to trust and feel more comfortable with you when they see the other people that like you and have conversations with you. And it's kind of like that endorsement of each other. And that goes a long way when we're building that digital brand that we all kind of need to have right now, that individual brand.
Great.
So that's all I got, James.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Kindra. It's been great, and I'm looking forward to seeing you grow your business this year, and you just add to your vendor list and everybody that's referring you business.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come on today.
Absolutely.
All right,
Have
thanks,
a great
Kindra.
one. Okay, Kindra.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I tell you what, Kendra's always got a smile on her face, and you know, I know no one has a perfect day every day and 24 hours throughout the day, but she always brings her best, and I appreciate that out of her.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, this technology thing, man, it's required everyone to have to adapt. You know, with the Zoom. I mean, we're doing a lot of Sunday school classes. We're having to do it. You know, we did that at our church with Darren and April. You know, we were doing Zoom classes for several months before we got back in person, and we still do our Bible fellowship class on Zoom for those that don't feel comfortable or can't make it to class. So I think it's going to become something that everyone kind of becomes accustomed to when it comes to Zoom. And I can't make it to the office today, or I can't make it to that meeting, so Zoom me in is kind of going to be the thing.
Yeah.
I think we're all.
Well, as an entrepreneur,
I hate to see these commercial buildings though, because there's going to be some fallout from people not needing office space anymore.
yeah, I'm really concerned about that. I don't know what that's going to do with us, but as an entrepreneur, the flexibility of being able to do business and connect with people from any location. And one of the things that I'm trying to help people understand is that, rather than running all around this big metroplex of Dallas and Fort Worth, meeting people face to face for the first time, you can meet a multitude of people and then start to see where those connections are, and then go more into the personal one-on-one settings. And I think it does save a lot of time. I think it can make us more efficient if it's used right. I don't think that it should ever replace that human interaction, that connection. But I think that it's a great place to start.
I can give you a personal experience there. So for those of you who don't know or would need to be reminded, I own Delicate Moving Systems, and we about 95% of our business is household moving. We do office moves, but the majority of our moves are homes or apartments. And a lot of companies have gone strictly with Zoom calls to do assessments to determine how much a move is going to cost. Now we're not talking about your typical. Well, it's cool, but I found, because I'm going out now in person. I've been going out in person. For anyone that's comfortable with that, I wear a mask, and a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have to have a mask, but I just do it out of courtesy and even protection for myself. But that's where that Zoom call. I mean, yes, you can see someone's home with them walking around with their phone, but you still don't get the exact feel of everything and see, the tight hallway, or that refrigerator is going to have a hard time going through that doorway, and you may have to take the doors off of it. And so for anyone who's out there that's moving, we've been able to provide a lot more accurate pricing than some of our competitors who are strictly doing the Zoom calls. Now, if a customer out there doesn't want someone in their home prior to the move, then of course we'll engage and do a Zoom call. But we're able to provide more accurate pricing in person, with that. And that's one of the things I was saying that I don't think will ever change. I think those in-person meetings in certain businesses are just better for both parties.
Right.
Well, look, we've got Greg Holdburg coming up. Have you got Greg queued up?
He is ready to go. Here he is.
Greg.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Greg. How are you
today? What's up, Greg?
I'm good. I'm not sure I'm comfortable following Kindra, so remind me never to do that again. She's terrific.
She's great. Well, tell us, Greg, you're with Liberator Health Insurance. Is that right?
Yes, I've doing the health insurance side. I've come from a technical background, but later on in life, I decided what I wanted to do when I grew up. So ended up in the insurance field, and specifically, I kind of got more involved on the healthcare side after I read a book, and it was a book by a John Hopkins doctor about just how messed up our healthcare system is. And everybody's been aware of that with the health insurance crises and all this, and the Affordable Care Act and so forth. But his point of view is put the insurance company to the side. Why does health insurance cost so much? Specifically, though, why does health care cost so much? Why does an X-ray that's 150-year-old technology? I've seen people be billed $250, $300 for an X-ray, when typically, if you know where to look, you can get an X-ray done for $25. So I became sort of more of an evangelist, if you will, for health insurance, to let people know that there are options out there. Everybody looks at going out to the exchange or talking to some of the major medical folks, and the only modification they can really make is increasing their deductibles. And of course, that ends up biting them in the back end of this thing, because they've lowered their premiums, even though they're obscene, by a little bit. But then when they go into the hospital, they've got like a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, even upwards of $10,000 deductible, and they go into the hospital for a short stay, and say they come out of there and it's $8,000, $9,000, and well, you haven't met your deductible. So wait a minute, what have I been paying for? So I've sort of become an evangelist into that area to let people know that there are options out there. People don't understand that when the individual mandate went away, they're not forced to buy insurance anymore that meets governmental requirements. They can buy whatever they want. They can also go without, which I don't recommend. But there are some things I can do for them and show them how to get control of their health care, and by specifically what it is that they need to meet them and their family needs. I have a lot of entrepreneurs, real estate agents, and so forth. And a lot of cases, this keeps a lot of people that want to start their own business out of doing that. They don't make that leap from going from their company to start something because they look at, oh, gee, I got a family, I need health care. And they're looking at, I've seen as high as $1,900 a month for health care. And it rivals their house payment. And it's just ridiculous. And you don't have to do that. Especially if you don't have any major horrible diseases as far as pre-existing conditions, if you're fairly healthy, you can really customize a healthcare program that really meets your needs and save a ton of money in doing so. So that's what I've gotten involved with, sort of a snapshot.
Yeah, this healthcare thing, even before the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, as some people refer to it as, healthcare is different than homeowners insurance or auto insurance. I mean, pretty much with a car, okay, I just want to make sure that if I have a wreck, my car's going to get fixed and I've got enough liability coverage to keep from getting sued. I mean, it's somewhat straightforward, right? There's so many different, healthcare is so different. I mean, okay, so I'm going to get, I've got a policy through Philadelphia American. I'm sure you're familiar with that bunch.
Very much so. They're a good company.
So I get $160 for 20 visits a year, but then if I go to this specialist, I get $200, and then if I do this with with an X-ray or an MRI, I mean, the next thing you know, a check shows up in the mail for the difference, and I'm like, well, so it's so hard to understand. So having an advocate and having someone like yourself that'll answer the phone, that'll explain it, that is an evangelist, as you like to say, for it. I mean, I'm in a neighborhood in Prosper, Texas, and we have a very active Facebook page here for our neighborhood. And I'm telling you, once a week, somebody's going, "Hey, is there a good recommendation for someone for health insurance?"
I'd love to talk to
people
them.
just exactly. So yeah. Lyndon, how about you? Do you find health insurance to be confusing a little bit?
Yeah, it was, because I was like anybody else. It's just, I mean, I just paid a premium and hope I never needed it. And then when I had any type of situation, it's a mystery. You go to the hospital, and I mean, I wish I could run a business like, okay, pay me a bunch of money, come to the hospital. I'm not going to tell you how much it's going to cost. And by the way, you've got a high deductible. So, and 90% of the time, people don't meet their deductible. So they're paying all this money and they're not getting out of it. So the way to look at it is traditional major medical is set up to where you have to ask the question, how much do I have to pay before the insurance company will pay? And a lot of these new plans that I look at, Philadelphia American is one of them, and they're very good, by the way. You reverse that question, is how much is the insurance company going to pay before I have to pay? Because 90% of the time, they're going to cover everything. And sometimes you get a little bit money back. And it goes back to, it's sort of like what's old is new and so forth, because, I'm older than both you guys. And I grew up kind of around healthcare. My mom was an Army nurse back during World War II. My wife is an RN. My sister's an RN. So I kind of understood what goes on in the hospitals, but the insurance side was just dumbfounding. And they like to keep it that way, by the way. As far as not knowing. Now, there are some new laws coming down, transparency laws, to where they have to publish their rates. Now, obviously, if it's an emergency situation, you're not going to be, asking about how much is this going to cost if you're unconscious. But if it's something like say you needed a knee replacement or something, up until recently, the hospital won't even tell you how much that would be. They'd give you sort of a ballpark and say, well, we won't know till we get in there. More and more, you're finding some clinics that are starting to come up with a set fee for, this is what a knee replacement is going to be. This is how much it's going to cost when you walk in, and it's going to take care of you all the way through to the time you walk out. And you're insured then that you're not going to absolutely blow the budget, send yourself into bankruptcy by having a medical procedure done. So when I growing up, like I mentioned, mom was a nurse, and we didn't have to go to the doctor very often because of her being a nurse. She could stitch us up and give us shots, stuff like that. But with 6 kids, somebody's always got a broken arm or something. So we were always going to the hospital. I never really remember my dad complaining that much. We didn't have that much money, but really complaining that much about the medical bills. And that's because they were so cheap. And it wasn't until Blue Cross Blue Shield entered into the realm. I hate to pick on them, but there's sort of the history of this thing. That all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're going to get you a discount where the hospital can't give a discount because they're only charging like a 10% profit margin on it. So all they did was they jacked the prices up, gave Blue Cross Blue Shield a big fat discount, and then the insurance company says, "Look how much money we saved you." In the meantime, you're paying premiums that just keep increasing. So it's sort of like a never-ending thing. And what happened, or what's happening now, is people are starting to begin to learn how they can get control of this. And Philadelphia American is one that you can use. There's a couple of others out there, but it's a defined payment program, if you will. So in other words, if you go see the doctor, as you mentioned, it would pay you like $120 to go see that doctor. Well, you have 2 choices. You can hand the doctor, if it's in network, hand the doctor a card, and 9 out of 10 times it's more than enough, so you get a check back for a few dollars. But all of a sudden, I've got people where the lights go on to say, wait a minute, my doctor loves cash prices. Doctors hate insurance companies. No matter, even Philadelphia American, they just as soon get cash. Well, once you know that, and keep in mind, doctors, hospitals, clinics, they're all business people. You can then go to them and say, hey, you know what? Keep your card in your wallet and ask them, what's your cash price? What's your cash discount for this? And if you have the budget to do it, obviously like a doctor's visit isn't much. I've seen people negotiate a doctor's visit down from $120 for a visit down to $80 or $75. And what happens is they pay it, they submit the bill, they get a check for $120. Because the way these plans are structured is they have a set fee on what they'll pay. And if you work it right and you know what you're doing, and your agent, that's the key. If your agent has built your plan correctly and filled in those gaps so that you don't leave yourself vulnerable to something serious, you got a great plan and you're going to save, upwards of 50%, maybe even a little bit more. I'll breathe now.
Well, I was going to ask you before I get to asking you about your approach to 2021. What do you? Because I had experienced this recently. I went to an imaging place in Frisco, and I was a cash patient because I've been schooled up, like you said, by my agent on the benefits of my policy. And I asked them what their cash price was, and they said it was like $60 for an x-ray. But then they wanted me to sign something when I got there that said I wasn't going to file it on insurance.
Right.
So how are they able to do that by law to circumvent me getting a check back from my insurance company? They
can't. Bluntly. They can't.
I thought they were bluffing me. I went ahead and filed it with my insurance.
Yeah, and there's some tools out there that you can use. For instance, one of them is, although they're kind of reworking right now, but it's called Healthcare Blue Book. I'm not sure if you've been familiar with that. And it's a lot like the car Tele Blue Book. In other words, you want to go get an MRI, you want to go get an X-ray, you can bring that up, key in that procedure, and it'll give you the range, the high and the low for the area that you live in, the DFW area. And this is what the fair price would be for something like that. Now, if you go into a place and get armed with that information, I give you a quick story. I had a lady that, and she is now a customer of mine, but before she was a customer of mine, she had a high definition mammogram done. And that's what caused her to call me. And she was billed $722 for it. So I got talking with her. I showed her on Healthcare Blue Book that procedure should have cost about $220. So she called them back and said, hey, I looked at Healthcare Blue Book and you guys charged me $740 or whatever it was. And according to Healthcare Blue Book, it should be about $220. And they said, okay. And they just lowered it. So they didn't even argue. They just said, oh, okay. In other words, like, So, but she'd already had the procedure done. I mean, she didn't have any bargaining position at this point.
Right.
But they went ahead and just dropped it. And I see that all the time. They have it's called the Charge Master. And the Charge Master is a phony pricing that hospitals and doctors and clinics have come up with. that they use to bill the insurance company. So if you get your insurance bill, it'll say, here's what the amount billed is. It's like $1,000, for example. Here's the negotiated rate, $300. Well, that's ridiculous. And so then you have to pay $300 because you haven't met your deductible. But the insurance company says to you, look how much money we saved you. But if you had gone in and said, look, I'm going to be a cash pay, and I'm going to pay what is reasonable, and under Healthcare Blue Book is $300, and you pay them the $300, and you leave and you've negotiated your own deal. Sometimes you can even get them down even better than that. They love cash pay.
Right.
So what it does though is people have to learn how to get themselves or get healthcare under control by getting themselves educated with how the program works, because it's this big mystery thing. Doctors and hospitals, and they're afraid to ask. And like anything, you have to understand they are a business and they will deal with you because they're looking to get paid. And that there's story after story of these kind of things.
Lyndon, you want to jump in here? I know your mind's over there just going 100 miles an hour with all this.
Well, it is, because I've always, not to get off on my conspiracy theory tangent that I can go on, but I've always felt that when people overcomplicate things and turn off the transparency, there's a reason for that. And when I first met Greg on one of the shows, and I listened to him, I'm like, where has this been? And it really has been around, but just like anything else, they don't want a lot of people to know about it. And I think Greg is doing so. I think he's making, not to use a play on words or a cheesy comment, but he's making the difference for so many people, and he has the ability to make the difference for so many people that may be intimidated by the insurance world, may not really know what they have. And I think that there's a lot of cost savings that can go into that, especially if you're a relatively healthy person. I'm getting older. My whole life, I've had 10 surgeries, but other than that, I never, unless it's just broken, I can't fix it. That's the only time I go to the doctor. And so there's been a lot of money that I have put into some insurance companies, pockets. And just when I heard what he offers and how he educates, and I explained this to him before, I think that he articulates the process as well or better than anybody I've heard.
What are you doing, Greg, to because we could talk, like we said before the show, you could talk for an hour and a half and just scratch the surface on all this, because it's so complicated, but yet you do a good job of trying to keep it simple. But what are you doing in 2021, what are your plans to get the message out and to speak to as many people as possible? Because you've got information, and that information is powerful. And so what are you going to do this year to get out to reach more people, let's say, than you did in 2020?
Right. Yeah, my model changed. And it was, I went to lots of networking groups, the chamber meetings and all that, and stood up and did my quick presentation. And then once in a while, they'd let me be the spotlight speaker where I've got 12 minutes or whatever it is to get my information out as fast as possible. And that worked actually fairly well. Obviously, when the COVID really went into full bore here, that changed everything. I couldn't, the groups started doing Zoom meetings, and I kind of struggled a little bit with that. I'm a face-to-face kind of guy. I love meeting people. I love talking to people. As a matter of fact, when I go out and I present this to people, a lot of my people that are in this business, they just cringe because I never sell on the first call. I would always just say, okay, I've given you all the information, mull it over, talk about it. When you're ready, give me a call, and I'd just leave. I would never, ever do a close. And these people are like, why are you doing that? I said, because this is great. They're not going to find anything better. They've opened their eyes. If they want this, they'll call me. So, but that was a face-to-face kind of a thing. I can read body language to understand if are they understanding or they're not understanding. So my whole model had to change based on that. So one of the things that I'm getting more and more involved with is like the difference. I think this is an excellent platform for me to get my message out and get it out to a lot more people and more focused at what people are out there. Obviously we're talking to a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and they're getting killed with their health insurance. And most of them do not know that there's another way that they can go, because nobody's telling them that their major healthcare person isn't going to tell them about it. As they go out on the healthcare exchange, that's not going to tell them about it. And most people don't even realize that the individual mandate is gone now. And that's what made the difference in this type of policy was you get billed, upwards or penalized upwards of $2,000 if you didn't have the type of plan that the government thought you should have. So that kind of put a squash on this type of thing. Once they lifted that, and that's been about 2 years now, this really started taking off. And that's why I'm out trying to get people to do it. But it was a challenge in that I can't get in front of people anymore. So I had to get myself tuned up to be able to do these type of presentations via Zoom. When I talk to people that want to go through this, a lot of times I don't do Zoom. I just do it over the phone, which was a struggle for me at first, but I'm getting pretty good at it. So, it's been a challenge, but I'm getting better and better at it. And I'm finding I'm able to talk to a lot more people and even close more business because I'm not getting in the car and driving over to somebody's house and half an hour into my drive, I get a phone call from them and they say, "Oh my gosh, so-and-so fell out of the high chair, so we're gone," or the dog's sick, whatever the case is. And I got to turn around and come back home and reschedule it. Well, now it's just, okay, no problem. I'll just call you, call me when you're ready to talk about this. So in essence, it's not only gas money, but it saves a lot of time. So I'm able to present this to more people because of the COVID lockdown than I did before. So there is sort of a silver lining to this for me in that I can do it that way, as well as with what's going on now. A lot of people are more in tune with, hey, I've got to get health insurance. My gosh, if somebody in the family gets COVID and they need to go to the doctor or go to the hospital, we don't really have coverage or we don't have enough coverage or whatever the case may be. So it's kind of opened a lot of people's eyes and the interest. And it's just been in the news a lot. So.
Well, I appreciate it. I feel like we're just scratching the surface having you on because again, there's so much to cover. But I wanted to give our audience access to hear you because I know there's a lot of people out there that have questions, and maybe we can talk about it off air. But we'll talk about maybe doing a seminar or something.
I'd love it. And
bringing you in and getting you an audience to talk to about this. So I appreciate you coming on, Greg.
Okay. Well, very good. I always enjoy it, and Lyndon, thank you. This is like I say, this is my new medium now. So
okay. Well, great,
it's
awesome,
and it's fun. I spent years and years being able to get up in front of an audience and talk, and now all of a sudden I can't do that anymore. So I'm turning to this, and I always kind of felt a little stilted on these kind of things, but I'm getting a little bit better at this.
Well,
doing great, Greg.
Awesome.
We
appreciate you, Greg.
Yep, and we appreciate you being a part of the difference, Greg. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
All right.
All right.
All right, man. I tell you what, that healthcare thing is crazy. But there's some good options out there. Let's get. We're running close on time here. Let's get Mark Karetskiy on with Movement Mortgage.
There he is.
Fellas, how are you?
The one and only Mark Karetskiy.
I just had my mind blown by Greg.
Oh man, it's crazy.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up with that.
Well, I tell you what, Mark, last time you were on, we spent some time talking about your background as far as being a Russian immigrant and what life in America looks like, because that was during our Thanksgiving season. Really, I guess we should all be thankful 12 months out of the year, but it was during Thanksgiving. And I wanted to talk about, it was between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I wanted to talk about, what we were all thankful for. But today, I don't mind bragging. I think business owners, if it's done the right way, should not shy away from sharing with people how successful they are, especially when you're in the business of helping other people, and you help people get into their homes. And that's not an easy job. There's a lot going on to get somebody qualified and to get their loan approved. And so I thought we would spend your time today, even though I think it's fascinating. Your backstory is fascinating. But I thought we'd spend a day just letting you talk to us about, briefly tell us, I know you met your goals. We talked about that last time, but what are you going to do in 2021 that's going to even make more of a difference in your personal business, which in turn will make the difference for more people in our community?
Well, I think the first thing I'm looking forward to this year is really jumping in and getting involved with the community. I know eventually that's going to lead to more business, but it's really, I'm looking to just get involved and be a more involved member of my community. I'm a Dallas and Collin County taxpayer, so I feel like I need to get involved and I need to go out and meet more business owners and I mean the movers and shakers and really see what value I can bring to them. And you guys know, I mean, I'm give first, and then I mean I know eventually things will lead to reciprocity, but that's what I'm looking forward to the most. But 2020, it was a crazy year. The mortgage industry went from, I mean, overnight, potentially like a calamity and like the end of the mortgage system as we know it to a record year, like a historic year. And so we saw a lot of adversity through it. And so really taking everything that I learned both from the economic side and the actual business side, but then really we got to see firsthand what happens to our real estate community when interest rates go down. And it's that all the loan officers go after that low-hanging fruit and they go after those refinances. And so I saw a lot of realtors online on Facebook or otherwise being like, hey, I need a new lender partner because I can't get any sort of feedback communication with my partner. And so I think my biggest thing that I took away from that is really just leaning in and going deeper and doing more.
Yeah, I think those relationships, people were just going, like you said, for the refis and kind of neglecting those new buyers or buyers of homes. And so you've been able to, it sounds like, go in and build some relationships that you didn't have before, or strengthen some relationships where maybe you were second on some people's list, and now you've moved into the
Not second. I mean, I wasn't even on the list.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
Like, it's people that didn't even know who I was prior to the pandemic.
Right.
So I think a lot of LOs would be better served in really focusing in on their purchase clientele and their referral partners, because we all know, I mean, the refis, they come and go, but they're never going to be what kind of builds long-term wealth and sustainability.
Right. Well, don't broadcast that too loudly. Now we want you to have an edge. We don't.
The more the merrier. I mean, honestly, it's one of the things another thing that I took away from last year is really just having an abundance mentality. I mean, there is infinitely more business in the market than I could ever dream of handling, right? I'm just here to carve out my slice and really treat my people the way that I would want to be treated, and make sure that we position them to become the raving fans that we want them to be for us for the future.
So how do you specifically, do you have a specific way or multiple ways this year that you plan to grow your business? I know you're an ambitious entrepreneur. We've talked about this, but how, I mean, is this going to be through more advertising dollars? Is this going to be through more networking? Is this going to be through hiring more people? Or is this, building your clientele from a referral standpoint with your previous clients? What's kind of something you're looking at going yes to all of the above? All of the above.
Gotcha. I mean, the biggest thing that I'm focusing on specifically in this first quarter, me as entrepreneur, sales guy, high I, high D, really not much organization or structure to my life. Like, I've thrived in chaos and anarchy, and you can, and I can admit that you can do that for a while. But for what I want to build and for where I want to go, I know that I need structures and I need systems. And so I'm building out a full CRM that's going to be able to handle everything that I want it to be. And not just automation, but I mean, being able to tell me what to do in the best way possible, right? And just creating those SOPs or standard operating procedures where me, my two team members, any future LOs that want to come in under me or join the team, they have everything down. They know exactly how to go out and implement and be successful. And I think that if I can do that, and if I can not just do it, but implement it, I think that is going to be the reason why we can continue growing in the way that we have so far.
That's awesome. Well, you got the energy for it.
I got the energy for it, but I also have the ADD that goes against it, right? And so I know all of these things that I want it to do and want it to provide, but it's building it out and having the due diligence, or in my case, making the investment and having a consultant come in and build it out for me, because I know I simply won't, right? And so I think that's the biggest focus, but by doing that, that's going to give me more time to be able to do the other things that you mentioned. And so, I mean, a big theme of this call has obviously been video and Zoom. For the first time, I was super hesitant to jump into Zoom, even though like I'm young and I should be like fully okay with video. But we've gotten to the point where like our initial phone calls with clients are just a Zoom call. Mm-hmm. And the difference that makes in not just the sales cycle, but the actual rapport building and getting to know each other and building those relationships within the people that we're serving, it's been unbelievably useful. And then one thing that I did start doing, I don't remember where I read about it, but I saw somebody posted about how they were doing it. And it's instead of sending a like Facebook or whatever, I guess it's really just Facebook gives us people's birthdays, right? And I mean, sometimes we go in and we say like, happy birthday. And that's great. And that's nice. But what I've been doing is really just putting a phone in front of me and sending a happy birthday video, whether silly or just to touch base and say happy birthday. And I mean, the response to that has been overwhelming. Our past clients get them, our current clients get them, our referral partners get them, and it just brings that personal relationship to the forefront. And I think it's been something that's really helped make the difference for me.
Well, I'm going to pick six that idea. I'm going to pick six that one and take it to the house there. I like that.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
All right.
There's no harm that can come from it.
You know what? I don't. Mark and I talk a lot. He's going to coach me through a new social media thing that's going on. So we're going to talk more about that. But no, Mark, I do have one question. How important? You mentioned that you were looking, on social media, and you found that some realtors that were looking for help. How much and I'm going to use this word, how much do you farm social media for leads or connections or things like that? Is that something that's high on your list as far as how you make connections?
Social media is my highest ROI, and it's because I really don't put money into it.
Right.
But a lot of people think they know me from Facebook because that's where I hang out the most. But it's how I've built relationships with a majority of my referral partners today, is just connecting, whether through groups or just on Facebook, and just shooting a cold call or just a cold Facebook request and just starting to engage. And it's crazy to think that, I mean, you can add somebody on Facebook that you've never met or talked to, and by them sharing their life and their business and their voice and who they are, you start to just know them. Yeah. And when you go out and you have that initial human face-to-face or Zoom one-on-one, it's not just a like cold call. It's you guys already have a relationship. You know what they're about. They know what you're about. And from there, it's, I mean, learning more. And then how do we take what you have and help you blow it up?
Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
You're the best, Mark. I sure appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right.
Take care.
All right,
Hey.
Mark. We'll see you soon.
You know, we're at our stop time, but I feel like I'm with my parent who said it's okay that you're staying out late tonight, so you don't have to be home by curfew, because I'm watching the clock here and we're running. But since you asked Mark that question, I said, hey, Lyndon knows the time. He's the producer here, so if the producer says we're going over, we're going over. Do you have
We
time
can go
real quick
over.
do you have time to talk about the difference real quick and about what this could do for somebody out there?
I do. You know, I've said this before, and I will try to not get into it too deep, but the difference has really evolved. James, and you know this, you've been with me since we had the ADAPT program for real estate agents, and we started the ADAPT, or the Difference radio show. That's evolved into basically a digital media and video branding company and community. And, you know, it's really important, and as everybody's talked about today, there's a power to video branding. And one of the goals that we need to have, and what our focus is with the Difference, is to help small business owners, local businesses, entrepreneurs, independent contractors, the people in the real estate industry. We want to help them humanize their brand rather than commercialize it. I think that we have watched and imitated so many of the large corporations, and we've gotten away from the personal touch of our brand. And by being just what Mark just said, by being able to communicate with people through social media and let them become familiar with who we are and what we do and why we do it, when we meet them face to face, a lot of the work's already done. They already know us, they like us, and they trust us. And those are the people that we do business with. And that's really what the Difference is all about. We want to help people with their personal and professional brand. We want to help them become a mover and a shaker in their community. There's value in that. We also want to help them grow an audience. Last year, the Difference had over 500,000 viewers. Now, in some instances, that's not a lot for a bunch of folks like us that got together and created this thing.
Right.
We all were kind of shocked. We were kind of shocked, and that just tells us what 2021 can be for us. That, you know, I was talking to Brian Dobbs today, and he goes, what do you think about 2021? I said, I think we all, as a community in the Difference, learned a lot about, first of all, how we can leverage the Difference to make the difference for ourselves, for our businesses, for our communities, for our friends or neighbors, whatever it may be. And I think 2021, we're now that we have that education, we're going to be able to go out and we're going to be able to execute even better. And not only to help our business grow, but to help those businesses around. Like you had Greg Holdburg on today, you had Kindra on today, you had Mark on today. We want to have that community where we support each other and help each other's business grow. I want to introduce these businesses to my audience, and I want them to introduce their audience to you, and vice versa. And as a small business, they're the backbones of our communities. Yes, Walmart is great. Home Depot is great. Lowe's is great. But the small businesses are really, they're the fabric of the community. And I really believe that. We don't have the budgets that those other people do. So if we can bond together and support each other, we can save money, we can reduce our cost, and we can expand our reach to the people that want to do business with us. Yeah,
and I would just tell anyone out there, you know, if you think you might need the Difference on your team, then you need the Difference. I'm telling you right now, Lyndon will help you. Lyndon, you do a great job of trying to motivate, encourage, teach. You're a teachable, coachable person. I think in order to be a good coach, you got to be coachable yourself. You're very coachable. You have learned a lot yourself. I've seen your development in this industry from back when you had ADAPT, and that was a good program. But to where you've brought this now is something totally different. So I would encourage anyone out there, look, the cost is not unreasonable. I think it's more than fair, and it's a great bargain. And this is a great vehicle. And you can grow your show. If a show is in your future, if that's something you'd like to do, you can grow your show at your own pace. If you just want to be a contributor, then we can get you on the various shows that we all host and be part of this family. But we need more people out there to help with ideas, to help with implementation, and to help with the energy that we've got going here. So I can't recommend the Difference enough. And I appreciate all that you do, Lyndon. Definitely looking forward to this year that we're in now, 2021. And so with that being said, I haven't said much about Delicate Moving, who pays the bills around here for this show. But if you're looking to move, if you are considering moving, but you just don't know yet what the price would be and you want to just call us, maybe you don't plan to move till March or April, give us a call. We can talk through pricing with you. If you need to move this weekend, give us a call. We've still got availability on our schedule, and it can be a small move or a large move. It can be in town or going out of town or coming into town. We can handle that. And if you're building a home and you need storage for a while, we can do that as well. So give us a call at Delicate Moving. It's 214-972-0502. Again, 214-972-0502, and mention Moving Conversations. See you guys next week. Looking forward to getting back with Darren in April.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.